Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Mm, 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 mm. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Mm, 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 mm. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, we're live. Why are we live? Who are you? I have not seen you guys in 3 months. Why in the world are you bothering to join us tonight? You have betrayed us. You have left us in waiting for months to see 3D work once again. Why should we trust you? Well, because that's just how it goes. There's got nothing else going on tonight, and this is what we're doing tonight. We're going to make some 3D magic. I didn't even announce this on our Facebook page because, well, it's a bit impromptu. Literally just minutes away, I just decided, hey, why not? Let's do this. Finally got able to, got some free time, which has been very precious to me in the last couple of months. And now I'm finally able to put a little bit of time in here. We're going to see how far we can go tonight. Because I've been gone so long, we may not be doing a 2-hour medley. We may be doing a marathon. We've done that before. And tonight, what we're going to do is make a little sidetrack from what the normal is. We've been making a lot of various pieces here. Let's see if we've got, I don't have anything there under fantasy. We've got several different buildings that we've built so far. We've got stone bridges. See that one? And we got some stuff. Some various stuff. Princess Tower, Heart of the Forest. Haven't really got that down yet. Princess Tower. We've done this one. Just a simple little tower. All of these need to be cleaned up, polished up, ready to go. Gnome Tree is ready though. This thing is ready to go. Made that. So all of those are gearing towards an enchanted forest theme. I'm hoping that we make a nice collection so that we have more appeal to maybe youth rather than just adults. Especially in the fact that if you go in and, you know, you're wanting to bring your kids in, you've been playing forever, this would be a good addition where you have family friendly pieces. They're not too intimidating, they're not too scary, and they fit just about any age and still could be used as adult level too. But tonight we're going to diverge from everything. We are going to make a dice tower. And when I say dice tower, not the typical dice tower that you'd expect. I had an idea, saw someone online who had sculpted a dice tower that was a big pile of treasure. And at the top of the treasure was a surprise creature that looked like treasure, but in fact was not. And I'm talking about a mimic. So what I'm going to be doing is primarily getting a dice tower that is going to be a pile of gold and treasure. And then at the top of it will be a giant chest with its mouth gaping open and a tongue out. And the big thing is, I want the tongue to be a launch pad that you can place a dice in, and it will roll down the tongue into the mouth, inside the belly of the treasure pile, and out the bottom. And a little trap door is going to let the exit of the dice come out into the pool or tray or whatever. And I want to make it so that the little trap door swings freely. So it just lets the dice roll right out, but then closes back on its own without really much assembly. We'll get to that in a little bit, but for now, I'm going to start with just building a treasure chest. Long of an intro that is. We need to get right to it. Stop talking. Start building. That's what you came here for. Alright, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to start with the treasure chest. We're going to make just a simple box, I believe. And we're going to work from there. So we've got, make some kind of a box right there. Before we get too crazy on this, I do need to bring in a couple of pieces. And those are my guides rather, so that I know what in the world we're bringing in. So I can see, okay, that's printer size. I'm not going to print out too much, bigger than the printer can handle. So, let's see, that's not what I want. I want to say the witch's house, did it have, back at the beginning, yeah, it did. Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. There's a box. Alright, this is my standard printing area for my printer. Everybody's is different depending on what you have. I have an MK3. This prints like something like an 8x8x8, something like that. But it's always important to have this in the general area so that you can keep an idea of how big your model is and making sure it's not just getting out of proportion. Alright, having said that, let's get started. So, I want to make some kind of a box here. Let's see. Also, I'm going to do a little research real quick. Let's see, I want to make sure the size of these dice are accurate. So I want to say a typical 18 size dice, D20, 38, about 40 millimeters, which is what it usually talks about. So that's a diameter. So we'll make a sphere. And this has radius over here on the right here. It doesn't do diameter, so you're just going to have that. So half of 38 is 24.4. It's 38.8 to be exact. So that's the diameter of a die. That looks awfully big. And we need to make sure that we've got our right units set up. We've got millimeters. And we have the system unit set to millimeters. We always want to do this before we get started, just because we need to make sure that everything is going to match with the printer. Most printers are still in metric. Very few of them are in imperial. So we want to make sure that that's correct. And it is 24 radius, so that is as big as it gets. That is huge. There's something wrong here, because I have it set to 24 millimeters and it is gigantus. There's no way that die is that big. I've got it set to 24 millimeters. Let's see. Let's do it one by one. Let's Let's get everything set up here. Ah, yeah. That's 1 millimeter. And that's a cube that's 24 millimeters. And that looks a heck of a lot smaller than that. Something's wrong with this sphere. And I don't know what it is, but it's wrong. 24, that'd make it... Oh, that's 48. That's why, because I'm an idiot and don't do math. Thought half of 38 was 24, but it's really like, what, 16.4? How about that? Ho-ho! Do math. Jeez. Terrible. Terrible. Alright, so that does 32.4, so that's not quite the same. So it's 37. Be 17.4, so that's 34. 36, 38. Right there. And we just make sure, because I like to make sure. So 19.4 is the actual diameter. That is a 40 millimeter die. And quite honestly, I still think that that is not quite... Well, I have my die right here. And I don't believe a standard one. I think they're like 16. Yeah. I think they're more like 16 is what these are. And... yeah. I don't know where you get the 40. Let me see here. It did say, oh, extra large. 22 millimeters is what they say for a multi-sided poly dice. Man, only been playing D&D for, what, 30 years. I still don't know the right size. So 22 is the diameter, so 11 is the radius. And all of a sudden, we got the size where we want it to be. We can make it actually 20, and like that. Actually, if you want to get really fancy, under extra primitives, I believe, or was it just basically back where it was? Is it standard in? The geosphere is not what I want. I want the one that says in gone or something. In Gen Gone. I think this is it. You put 20 for a 20-sider and it... Nope, that's not it. Oh. See, this is why I don't like learning other software. It makes you forget about the ones that you really care about. Used to be... Am I thinking of... Oh, I am thinking of a spline. Where you can make, like, whatever you want, but it's a spline. I guess it's just going to be a geosphere. Yeah, and then put down... Well, I don't bloody want that. Don't want that either. Well, that's not a 20-sider. Kind of looks like one though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. I'm putting it down. We're going live. 11. There he goes. Close enough. That's what we're looking for right there. Hello, everyone. Just pretend that I wasn't babbling on for the last 30 minutes. I'm actually just now starting live. By all means, if you get to this point, just go ahead and skip that first 30 minutes. And consider it starting right now. All right, class is in session. I want to make sure that the hole is plenty big enough for that die so they can fit in there. And I want the upper part of the chest, that would be the lid, to be separate from the lower part so it can print separately. It's going to have two prongs back at the back where the hinge is, comes down there, and it fits into the base part. Where you don't have much overhang. Alright, what do we want to do here? First time I've modeled this. Usually I come in here and I've already modeled it about 2 or 3 times, so I know what I'm doing. Always the first time is the toughest because you have to look at the artwork, which I have beside me. You can't see that. Trying to determine what needs to be done for that. And I think we need to start off making these to have an edible oop, not yet. I get my daggone. I need to get a wireless key or a mouse. I swear, I do not like wires. We need to put some segments in here, and that way we can morph and bend this thing to what our pleasure and desire is. So, put like, I don't know, 3, 3, and 3, something like that. And you're able to then move these pieces right around these edges by way of making it edit poly. And then choosing vertex, and then you can see where there's all these little blue dots that you can select. You can move them around and things like that. And that's really how you model things like that, is just pushing and pulling and things like that. And you could add more to these than just the 3x3 that I have to give you more option, but I think this will be good enough for now. Alright, next. I want to pretty much turn on soft select because I want this all to be nice and smooth, even though there's only going to be a couple of segments here. Let's see. Good Lord. I've been trying to learn Maya for the last, I don't know, 3 months and have not touched Max since May or June, whenever it was. And as a result, geez, it's tough for me to remember how to use all this and try to remember the same, functions, but different ways of doing it. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Maya at all. Alright, let's see. Next, I want to go to vertice. I want to move, turn off soft select for a second. I want to move these two segments away from each other, and we can do that by selecting the vertices, grabbing your Y axis right here so it lights up, and then just move it, and you can actually separate them. That way you're having equidistance from each other. And the reason why I want to do that is because this is going to be the banding around, and we probably want to put another piece right here. We just select all the edges right up here, and then go to connect, which is right here. Click this setup button to the right of it instead. That way you have more control over this. And the top one doesn't move, but the bottom one does. And it goes along that edge there. You set it to wherever you want it. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Say, I'm looking for this to be kind of a squarish thing. Yeah, that's good enough. Now I've got edge on 3 sides, but I don't have it on this side. So I need to do the same thing as I did just a second ago. But it's on the opposite side now, so theoretically, if you make it positive, it should be on the exact opposite, which is right there. Just make it a positive, and you got it. Now you got it a little bit on every side, and now we can go crazy with this. This is going to be kind of the upper crest of the chest. It will be basically a barrel, half barrel cylinder, and you do it one of 2 ways. You can extrude this bad boy. If you do that, you're going to want to bevel and go to local normals. It's hidden right there, and extrude it just a little bit at first. And we do this now because we're going to be anticipating to use Turbo Smooth later on. And in order to make nice, sharp corners like this, with Turbo Smooth on, you've got to have segments that are right up against it, another segment up right here. Otherwise, if there wasn't a segment right here, this 90-degree right here, the Turbo Smooth wants to pull it apart and smooth that out. Instead of it being 90 degrees, it wants to be as smooth as possible. And if there's nothing here or here, no lines going parallel with this edge, it just smooths it out as much as it possibly can. Think of these things, this segment right here, that right there, as a pull line that pulls that curve back to closer to this one, so it's tighter for it to pull, because now it has to pull two strings. Think of them like guitar strings that are real tight, and instead of just pulling one string, now it has two strings, which is greater. If you put a string right there, it would do the same thing. It'd make it even tougher. But for right now, we're going to move on up, bring it on in. Now keep in mind, tonight is pretty much experimental, because I guarantee I'm going to be redoing this. But for now, we're learning as we go, and I tend to kind of go back and redo things, and I don't like certain things and whatnot. Like this is a little too thick. This is a little too short. I want it to be taller. I want it to be flat on this side, but I want it to be curved more on this side, because this is the front. We could do it the other way, and this is one of the ways I was thinking about doing it, but it's a little more difficult because you have to do more practice. I'm going to make it isolate, so it's just this. I was going to put a cylinder up to begin with, and go to my L so I can see that, F3 so I can see the F4 rather, so I can see both the solid and the lines. And I'm basically going to go in from the center right here, so that the point is going to go from the center, and I'm going to drag it so that this will be the center of the cylinder, and I want the edge to be right there. Okay, and as a result, it comes out like this. You can go to your Modify tab, extend your height, just eyeball it for now, and then when you get your slice on and put in 180, you've got the top of a chest. See how that kind of resembles the top barrel of a chest? Yeah. The only problem is that you've got all these segments that you got to line up with. Right now I just have 1, 2 that needs to go there, so I just want 1, 2. That's it, because this is going to be matched to this. This is going to be matched to this one right here. So what I'm going to do is go down here, and I'm going to grab any one of the, grab the segment, anything that's along this line right here, because that's where I want this to be brushed up against. And the simple way of doing that is to right click your move tool, which we've done over here. It's up here. Right click here, you have your coordinates, and you figure out what, it's usually X that goes this way. So you know that this right here, if you copy it, that is the precise line that's right here. So if you copy that, go to your cylinder and select your polygon edge right there, and you put the same number in. Didn't move much, but it did. Now you know it is completely spot on, perfect. And then you can go in here and turn on your soft select. You can move it down. I can snap it. And now the next one would be these right here. And then finally these last ones right here. I want to turn off soft select because I just want to snap this to there. And now, even though it's a bit rugged, it's the top of a treasure chest. Not much to it, but again, you got to start off with a block of clay before you start making the masterpiece. Okay. Like I said, I'm just kind of fiddling around today. We'll see how we're doing this in a second. I want to pull this on up to make a cavity. And to do that, you want to extrude or bevel, doesn't matter. It's the same thing in this case. And you go in, but not into this. You want to make sure that you're not going, see that purple? You don't go that far. You go as far as you can want, but just don't go into the purple one. And then if you want to bring it in a little bit, you can. That's fine. But now you've got like a cavity at the top part. We're going to make a quick save to this. And I'm going to put it mimic tower. Let's call it a dice tower because that's what it is. And like I said, it's definitely not an original idea, but someone just basically sculpted it. I'm doing it a different way, and I'm designing it totally different. The actual sculpt, you had to throw it into the mouth, and I think there's more room for that. And with 3D printing, you have options to do a lot more than you do with sculpting. You have mechanical actual elements that move, moving parts and things like that, that sculpting is a lot tougher to do. Alright, so now we got the top part for now. Now let's make the bottom part. And again, we'll just tilt this whenever we're ready for it. Actually, real quick, I want to make this. I want to do this, and I'm going to chamfer those edges and bring them out to about right there. And then I'm going to grab this and select my ring, and grab this and select my ring, and I'm going to connect. So I have a piece right down the middle of it. Okay? And the reason for that is that when I chamfered this, kind of jacked this whole thing up. So I need to get this all cleaned up. You see how these pieces are just not working right. So move that up. And you've got this wonky little piece right here that we don't want. We don't want the base. Don't need the base. It's all about it. Nope. Don't need it. Got too much base. Now we just have the shell. But it's a lot cleaner now. And what we do is snap it right back to where it was on both sides. Don't worry about the two sides for now. Just worry about what you got, what you can actually snap right now, which is that. Hit F3 to switch back and forth to your wireframe. And on this, we're going to just very simply, done with you, need to go to the banding. Go to your edge, select just this inside piece. And the reason why, we're just going to make a couple of cuts right there because we want to have segments like this right here so that we can have this piece right here, this little thing that's kind of hovering right now. If you go inside, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a gap. You see that? And we want to snap this to this blue piece. And we want to make sure that we got it right on the money. Well, the easiest way to do that is to add a segment right there and right there for that one. Yeah, it's pretty easy. You just make two, clear out your regular stash, and then this one up here separates. And just eyeball it in the general ballpark of where that one segment is. Doesn't really matter. And now, turn on your snap. Go to top level. Choose your cylinder instead. Vertex. I right-clicked for that one. See that? right click and then go to vertex. And then with it snapped on, just like snap, snap, snap. Go ahead and snap this one too, because I think it's off. Yep. And we haven't made one here yet, so there's nothing for that to snap to. So let's go back to our blue, select edge, hit F3 so we can see what we're doing. We just want to select that inside piece. What in the world is this? This random piece right here. I see what it is. It just looked really weird as a wireframe, but it's the inside cavity of the blue part. But it just looked like it was independent. I didn't see that it was attached to anything. It looked like it was just a random polygon that was just sitting there. Nevertheless, let's keep going. We've got all these selected right here, and we're going to connect. We just need a 1 this time. We don't need 2 because all we're trying to connect is this piece right here. So just have it connect, and you can move it again in the general area. Doesn't matter. Close out to top level, and then select your cylinder, go to vertex. And then just snap. And for some reason these got moved. So bring them up. Actually, I would turn on edge constraint and move that up a little bit. Let's move both of these up a little bit. They're a little bit too close. Now we can go in here, F3, grab all these vertices right here, and they're all coming up. Oops, turn off your edge constraint, and they're all coming up. Now they're all fixed. Everything is nice. Oop, this one is not. Now it is. So now they're all, well, boobaroo. I don't have this one. It's been a long day, apparently. So let's get this one done, too. Just connect it. Close it out. Move it over in the general area of where that segment is right there. Doesn't matter where. Oops. Select vertice. Save some time by selecting the other one, because they're all going to be on the same plane. So if you do one, the other one should be the same size too. And do the same thing over here. These got pushed down. I think I'm just going to move these up. Yeah, I don't like this little piece here. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We just grab these two, turn on constraints, turn off snap, run it up the middle a little bit, and then grab the other 3 that are down there. Turning off your constraints, and just snap it where they need to be. Now we still have the coordinates right here of all this line copied. So we can actually select every one of these up above. You see how it's like overhanging? We don't like that. We want it nice and flat. You can select all of those, right click. Again, you see that number? It should be like -29 something. And we just hit Control V for paste. And now everything is nice and even. Check both sides, make sure. Okay. Alright, so now we got that all set. For now. We can move on, kind of see how we're going to make the base and the mouth. I may go ahead and just use the same piece. I don't want to instance it because I want to make changes to it. And something like this. I don't want it to be completely, I want it to be kind of where it's opened up. So when he's going, meow, meow. See, this is the back of his head, this is the front of his head. He's going, meow. And at this point, it'd be something like, if I get my angle snaps on, be something like that in a roundabout way, with being over there, you know. And then for this, I don't want to have anything in here opened up, so we just take that right out. Take all this siding out. Actually, we don't take the siding out because that's going to be the backdrop. We're going to turn to vertices and start welding, target welding a whole bunch of this, because I want it to be the inside wall cavity of the mouth. And go in here, and we don't have that many vertices, so it's not that big a deal. And believe it or not, there's actually a vertex right there I'll have to work on in a second. But around and around we go. Oh, doesn't want to connect to that. We have a failure to, oh, it's back now. They're kissing again. All right, so now that's kind of the mouth, and really, like I said, it'll be two segments, and it'll be basically where, you know, I'd probably say here and here are going to be hollow, and although this is going to be a cylinder and a cylinder, it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. You put them in like that. And then rotate them a bit. Shrink down a bit. Something like that. And then this one, the one on the right of me, this one comes straight down. Oh, we need to tilt that a little bit more so it's flat. And this one comes in and in like that. But I probably wouldn't make it that much of a gap. And instead, I would probably, because it's the back, I really don't care where it is. I can bring it all the way down for all I care. Maybe not that piece. Everything but that piece right there. And the back. And that. And that. And that. And that. And that. And that. Let's see how crappy this looks. I'm feeling that I'm going to have to basically just make it all fit together. Yeah, like that. Something like that. So the whole piece above it will come in and fit like that. Okay? That'll hold it together. Of course, that coming down to, I worked so hard to get that perfectly, and no, I didn't really. All right, so once you got that open like that, a gaping hole, then you can go in here and make some kind of a cone. Not that small. And actually, I'm going to have to bring this thing up so that it's flat, so that it fits better on the base, because it turned out that it actually is all about the base. So that rests lovely there. I can exaggerate this a little bit if I want to make these, well, make up your mind what you want to do, John. Let's see. There. Nope. There we go. You can do something like that. Make the front part gaping open a little bit more. And come in here and... Holy crap, we're not seeing anything. Here we go. Yeah, something like that. That way you have a nice hole. You can move this thing inside to make sure that it fits. See how big that thing is? It's not big enough. It's way too small. Because it won't work that way. And then theoretically, once you have it the right size, let's say this thing gets a lot bigger. Not you, but the rest of it. Something like that. Could be even bigger than that. And then get the border. I want to extrude this inward. Yeah. Something like that. Just in general, just some kind of a hole. Can be covered up later. But some kind of a hole that will allow the piece to come in when you dump it in there. Like that. There's a hole now. Something like that. Make it smaller so you don't see the edges. Okay. And then the bottom part, something like this. I'll work on that later. But go in here, delete all that, select your border, select extrude, comes in a bit. Don't want it to be all like that, so we bring it out. And about like that. And if you're late getting here, I'm amazed that you even found this place, because I did not advertise tonight at all. So welcome, if you made it. Good for you. We are making a dice tower, but we're not making it finalized. We're just conceptualizing right now. We're going to be making a new one when I have a little bit more time. And I'm a little bit more prepared. For now, we're just having fun. Making a smiley face. There. You're incredible. It's really cool. It's neat. And then you go in here and you delete yourself about 4 pixels, 4 polys. And from here, you go to isolate. And the object is to make like a little tube thing that goes from one place to another, but you've got all these different pieces here. You only got like 16 different segments, not even that. 19, 11, 12 segments right there because you've got 12 boxes, 12 polys around, but you got all these buttload of things here. So, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to take the edges here and I'm going to shrink them down to here. Shrink them again. And one more time. And now what I want to do is move it. I want to move it. Oops. I want to move it. And then I'm going to slowly tilt this bad boy. And shrink it down. Not quite so much, I don't know. This is just experiment right now. And then somehow bring it to where it's over here. There's no way anything's going to fit into that, but it will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So now theoretically there's a hole right here. Kind of. And then it drops down into here. So theoretically the ball goes in there, falls down the hole, comes out there onto this place. And of course you can make like some kind of a backsplash, but it's not going to need to go up, but you can go in here and oops, make it all pretty. Woo! Something like, you know, that or whatever. That's the testing phase, just to make sure it doesn't come out. But the trick here, this is what I was talking about. So we go to here, we go to box, make a box. This is what I was actually most interested in seeing if it would work. I think it will. Just remember, I thought of it first. Alright, and with that, we go in here and bring this in, bring it down, bring all 4 of these in, bring these up, bring it out, and we don't really need all of these, so get rid of all that. And then this goes right here. I'm afraid this is not much of a tutorial tonight because we're experimenting. We're showing various ways of conceptualizing with 3D where you just slap stuff together and not worry about it right off the bat. But this is what I was talking about. So you go in here and la-di-da, you make this nice and pretty, and you do the bevel, and you bring it in, and then you bring it in, and it's kind of like a shield, and then go in here with a cylinder. About yay long. And you rotate it so it fits ish. You do the same thing for the other side. You see what I'm getting at? It's going to be pretty cool. Let me keep going. Okay, cool. All right, from here, you go in and I would probably make a cylinder. And you really can't build anything. Well, you kind of can build stuff from perspective. You really don't want to, but you can. It gets all wonky. Wonky. And then it goes down there. It goes up and down. Up and down. Down and up. And from here, I want to make a little tray. Okay. So, in order to do that, I want to get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of about the first, I don't know, not that much. Yeah, about that much. Then we go in and add a modifier to it. And this one is the one that makes things thick. It is the shell modifier. Just like that, it is shelled. And you go in there and make, it's supposed to be actually close to the size here, and it needs to be the same angle. Yeah, there we go. And it's going to be attached to this thing instead of being out here in the open independent. Something like that. Something like that. There we go. So, and then this whole thing, like just the cups are attached. Oh, good grief. Don't want local. We'll do something like that ish. Be nice to have all of you guys together at last. Something like that. And then you group this whole bad boy together. And now good grief. Can I? There. Oops. And now basically you theoretically would have it swing, but it wouldn't do that. It would have to go up above. These hinges would have to be up above. Otherwise it wouldn't swing right. It'd be way up here at the top. At the top. From the top to the bottom. Yeah, you can make them longer than they were. I mean, really, the length is immaterial, so you can make it as long as you want. You make them gigantic if I care. And then have these little things, you know, up against the wall. Not that way. And do a local? Yeah, kinda. I mean, close enough. But yeah, the whole premise is that you'd have the dice come down, and it would swing open, let the dice out, and then swing back close, waiting for the next victim. Something like that. Isn't that cute? Oh, I agree. And then everything falls down there. And this whole yellow thing is a big pile of gold. That's basically it. Not much to it. And it's not that big. Let's see if it's... See just how big it is, huh? It's huge. So, that's one of my concerns, is the size that it would need in order for it to print. Boy, that just barely fits inside the printing surface. So yeah, you would have just enough space to print that size, and that doesn't give a whole lot. But again, this whole thing, it needs to be about that size. Oh, totally forgot. One more thing. So the tongue, I want it to be a separate piece that kind of fits right over here. So we got ourselves a fried egg right here. So let's say that's not it. I'm going to get this back to, there we go. Get that so it's squared up. I want something like that. It's way too big, but we can adjust it. Something like that. And it would fit onto the premise like a bracket. Okay? I'm not going to go through the cut, just see that that's the case. And, I mean, you can go in here and add a segment or something, and that way, you know, it fits, because that's immaterial. What's important is that this thing fits on right there, and then comes outward, and then we start going to town on it. Let's get a couple of segments, and then shrink it back down. What's going to happen here is, if I get the fall off just right, is we're going to make kind of a tongue. Like that. And it would depend. The longer this tongue is, the deeper this piece has to be. So if you go in here and you make, let's see, a connection, and then let's say boom, boom, for now. Oops. We make it a connection. So it's actually that far down. Now that'll hold just about everything. See how big it is? That would fit just perfectly. And what's cool is that you can go in here and grab, like, I don't know, these two pieces here, these two pieces here, and you can bring them outward. So you have like a little fork. And again, this is just rough concepts here, so don't get all crazy. We're just having fun tonight. Just everybody chill. And I want to put one right there. I want to put a connect right there. And then I'm going to grab it by the horns. Just the top piece, though. I don't want any of this crap in the bottom. I can't tell you just how much I really adore this program compared to Maya when it comes to just general modeling. It is just so effortless compared to what some of the other things I've experienced. Alright, so you go in here and you can actually just select these and not just the top part. Like that. And bring those up so that there's more of a trough. See, that's what I was thinking. And I think this is going to work. Because then it would just sit right there. Now, this whole thing would mean that you'd basically start right there. Oh, baby, I'm loving this. Everybody can eat your heart out. This is copyrighted by me, Simple Poly Tricks, because this is pretty cool. So you put the die right there, and it will tumble its way right down its gullet, right into this gullet throat, like that, and then it goes down into the ravine, and it goes through the body, like that, and then it has so much ferocity to it, and this piece has to be light. It has to be light, which I think it'll be okay, and loose, and then it pushes that, which makes this open up, and it allows for this to come out. And then this thing closes, and it's made its journey. And then it's right around here, something like that. Yeah. I'm liking it as a concept. And like I said, the tongue will come in separately. It'll be printed separately, so you'll have minimal support. You can actually print it probably upside down, and it'll be just fine. This piece here would be by itself. It'd be able to fit in. This piece would fit on top of this. And it doesn't have to be, but it can. It'll probably just be fused. And then this piece will be printed with this little cylinder. That may be an issue because the cylinder is so tiny. I guarantee you that's just a few millimeters, and that's able to break. So we're going to work on coming up with a better way. It may just be a hook where this thing, instead of it being like that, you can actually it's actually one piece, and then you go bump, and then click good, and go bump, and click good, and go bump one more time. So now you've got, and again, this is crude because I'm not going to be doing any fancy stuff. But you can go in here and make it so that it's hooked. So when you move it, it actually hooks onto a lever. Something like, oops, I want to copy it. Something like that. A lever. And it just sits right in there. And then it just spins, the two pieces live in harmony, and it just rotates on that. And of course it's smooth, so as long as there's something there that allows it to swing freely, that's all that matters. So there you go. My goodness. Something very quick and easy when it comes to concepts. We do it fast, we do it loud, we do it drunkenly. But yeah, And then, another little, you can add all kinds of details to it. Where's my donut? Where's my donut? Taurus is a donut. It's good. It's gigantic, but it's good. Something like that size. And you put them, like so. Boop. And now he has earrings. And looks absolutely fabulous. You can go in here and increase a box if you want to. Something like that. Do the same thing on this side. It'll be a different size, but it'll be fine. And then just swagger that boy. Make it local. That way you're going along the x-axis. Something like that. Bring it out a little bit, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then put your ring right there. Now he looks extra fabulous. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this last. And I forgot, and I got sidetracked. So, what I want to do is grab all of this. Make sure you got both sides. And then bevel that bad boy. Make sure it's local, not group. And I want to make it kind of cartoonish, but the crap is that? Oh, I put it on poly. Don't want to do that. Something like that. And he's got he's got the banding that goes there. You can do the same thing on the side too. You can grab all kinds of things. I mean, now you're slowly getting out of the concept phase and you're getting more into the design part of it. And that's no big deal. We got a little bit of time left. We're not going to go the full length tonight. We'll go short tonight since it's new for me getting back, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this consistently or not. I do not like to be sporadic. I don't like to tell people that I'm going to be on, then I can't be on. So I got to make sure that other things that interfere with this do not continue to interfere. Something like that. And you could do all kinds of crazy things with the tongue. I mean, you could make it rotate and sit here with this all night long and turn on your soft select and make little twists in it. Pull it out even farther. Because really, it's just a matter of the weight, just to make sure that you have enough holding right here, and really just about anything. You would have to test out to see how far you can go. You could even make it so that if you really didn't think it was going to hold up, you basically just make the tongue thicker, like this. Well, maybe not that far, but this one would. And instead of using soft select, you just use bevel. And you just extrude it down. Oops, that's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. Okay, let's try this again. I don't want to group. Oh crap, I don't want to do that. Well, doesn't matter, I guess. want to stay together, but it's not wanting to. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, you could make it, go down here where it just supports, just rests. There. So just rest right there, and then, grab this edge so that it comes up. And it looks like it's a big tongue coming out, but it's really all it is just supporting it even more. So that allows you to come out and do all kinds of crazy things with it. Again, you can bring it out even farther. You can twist it, you can turn it. Something like that. And it should hold it up with that ridiculous tongue because of the way it's supported down here. But again, you'd have to test it out, make sure that it all weighs correctly and it's anchored the proper way. But the goal is to keep it separate so that this piece prints separate from that piece, that prints separate from that piece. So it can all come in at different times, different angles, and not have to use so much support. And just minor assemblies, just a few things put together and you're good to go. It'd be the same for these. These earrings would print off flat, but then have little pegs that go into the side of this top piece here. So you're thinking maybe these two would be together. Let's see. That's together. And then these are separate, so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe 8 as the minimum. But then you'd have, and that's pretty much 8 separate pieces that you would have and need for this thing. And you could probably get it all printed off. You could print it off in one go, but you could print it off in 2 very easily. So it wouldn't be that very difficult at all. But yeah, that's the core of it, is having something like this. And like I said, it would work really, really easily. And I just put that together in an hour and 20 and maybe an hour, because I rattled off at the beginning quite a long time. But that gets the gist down, and then you can go back in and refine it. The best thing when it comes to 3D modeling, and it comes with any artwork, is repetition. Cartoonists are not good the first time they start drawing one of the new cartoon characters. They sit there and draw it over and over again, tons of times, getting used to it, just making sure they're familiar with it. A lot of muscle memory. And same goes for this, because you'll look at this and say, I wanted to do it a different way. I wouldn't have used this geometry. I would have used something else. And that's fine. Redoing it a second or even a third time is not the end of the world. Do not allow that to hinder you, especially when you feel like you're in too deep, to start over. That's the worst possible thing to do as an artist. You'll spend countless hours, maybe even days, on a project, and you're fighting with it the whole time. It's not fluid. It's not coming out. You're thinking too much. You're not letting your artistic talent just flow. And as a result, you're spending too much time trying to design and develop rather than letting your just natural abilities take over. And so when that happens, save it, put it aside, don't throw it away, don't delete it, don't get frustrated, don't, throw your computer out the window. Save it. Go have yourself a walk, go out, get a cup of coffee, go to the movie, go watch a movie at home, play some video games, do something, make a phone call. Spend a couple of hours at least away from it, if not the rest of the evening. Come back at it tomorrow or later on that day. Fresh, clean slate with the thought of the design which you originally had in your mind. Start back over from the beginning, and you'll find yourself moving a lot quicker and a lot smoother with more efficiency the next time around, because you'll have ideas that you weren't thinking of to begin with that you do now. So that's just my advice. You better take it because it's the greatest advice you've ever heard. This is going to be a short night. I thought it was going to be a marathon or a regular session, but it's going to be a short night. Kind of get myself back into the rhythm of things. And like I said, I didn't want to invest too much time. If this is going to be a rarity for me, I really want to get back into doing 2 nights a week. But other things keep me from it, and keep me working on other things. So I'm hoping to get back sooner or later. But in the meantime, I wanted to put something up because I've had this idea swirling around for several weeks. I wanted to get it down in 3D because I've had it sketched about 1 million times. It's ready to get into 3D stuff. I think it's possible. I think it's very doable, and it'll just barely fit. But boy, it's going to be a nice big piece. Maybe we can find a way to shrink this down and get it to where it's more economical. It fits on a gaming table, not quite as dominating as it is right here, but this would be a lot of fun at a gaming table, especially at a convention when you set this bad boy down and everybody gets to roll the dice right into the tongue and just listen to it as it rolls down the throat right out there and shoots right out that shield, and then have maybe a couple of swords and a staff, bunch of jewels, just all kinds of boots, treasure, and then have Mr. Mimic up here at the top, just waiting for something to go into it. Very good concept, and I think we can improve on it, make the design even better. So we're hoping that we can here pretty soon. All right, well, I'm going to shut off from now. Like I said, it was an early night, but wanted to get this up here. This will be on YouTube later on, just as soon as it gets uploaded. And I also, big news, one of our very generous supporters, investors in the company, supported me and the company by donating a stop motion camera, a very good one, that we're going to put to test. Actually, this will be the first one that we can work on. And I'm going to stop motion the print process and speed it up so everybody can actually see the printing thing. And we're going to probably juxtapose that video into these while I'm working. Not streamed, but the ones that get uploaded afterwards onto YouTube. And that way I will speed up both of them, synchronize them both so that the print and my operation on the screen, you can see it both at the same time, me modeling and me printing at the same time. It'd be kind of a nice little thing where you can actually see the final result as I'm modeling it. So gracious thing with that. Appreciate the donation. That's going to go to really good use here pretty soon. But until then, this is Simple Polytricks. I hope you got a little bit of this out of this tonight, and boy, hopefully we show ourselves a little bit more often in the future. I sure miss doing this. This is so much fun, but priorities in life, right? So until then, take care, enjoy yourself. We'll see you soon.